You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Should we talk about the Super 12s?
Oh, yes.
Right, so we'll run through each group. In our original preview, we went into a little bit more detail on these teams because a lot of them are quite unknown. I don't think we need to be doing quite the same level of detail.
I know one thing we do need to do.
Yes.
And that is to say that everyone watching us on YouTube, there's 70 odd people doing it right now.
Yeah.
Like this video and subscribe to our channel and go onto Twitter and follow us at the Cricket Pod.
That is good. And hit the show notes, patreon.com/the Cricket Pod. And we've got a pretty thriving Discord as well. Lots of people watching along from all around the world. So I wake up in the morning and there are like the people in San Francisco have been watching the cricket before they go to bed. And so I get a little update there.
We're a global media empire.
We're a global brand. Cricket TCP is a global brand. Right, let's run through Group 1. It's not Group A and B now, is it? It's Group 1 and 2. Which is stupid
because Group 1 is better. Yeah, it's better. So.
Yeah. Right, Afghanistan. The main thing that we are going to do, and we are going to carry this over from the last one, is we're going to tell you which famous person best represents the team. In the first pool, we had a rule that it couldn't be a cricketer. I'm going to break that for Afghanistan. You got sometimes
you not find anyone from Afghanistan that was famous enough.
I could find a few people. Rashid Khan, I think, as the talisman, he gets to be the face of Afghanistan for this tournament. Basically, if he has a good tournament, this is a team that could go far. A lot is resting on them. It's resting on him. I think with Afghanistan that they are a good cricket team, but they aren't quite the level up yet. So I would expect them to finish. I expect them to beat Ireland. They might beat Sri Lanka, and they'll probably lose the other 3 matches. That's my prediction for Afghanistan. And they've got a bunch of known quantities with the bat and ball. We always talk about Gurbaz, don't we? Still really yet to see it personally.
Yeah, well, he's been past fit, so they thought he might have broken his toe in training. So he will be around.
That's good.
But they've still got Zazai and those guys, and Nabi is the captain. Like, he is about 55 years old and still can give it a bit of a whiff. So we'll see.
That's Afghanistan profiled. Australia, they're the next team in the group. Which famous person do you think best represents Australia?
Well, they're reigning champs, aren't they? And I've picked a pretty famous person from all over the world, really, all over the world. It's a Hollywood actor, Paul Hogan, who's famous for playing Crocodile Dundee. And I've chosen him as he's what this Australian cricket team is setting out to be when they wear the baggy green. He was a movie star. He was a movie star, but he was almost like an anti-hero at the time, right? So Rambo was out at the same time that Crocodile Dundee was out. So instead of him going out and killing 75 people and being seen as someone who's, I want to be like that, his character is a good role model. There's no malice in the fellow. He's human. He's not a wimp or a sissy because he doesn't kill people. And this is what the Aussie team is: self-righteous champs.
So they are a little bit like the self-righteous champs. I like that. I think they've got a really good chance to make it through. It looks like they're not going to pick Steve Smith, which is
huge dick in the box.
There was a really good phrase for it, and it slipped my mind. It was like team
cohesion.
Team cohesion. Yeah, it was like that's a good thing. They're going to be a team with some real firepower with bat and ball, and I think just about favourites. Do you agree for the whole tournament?
I think home advantage always counts for quite a lot. And you've seen like the stadiums haven't been that full for the Australia games. They will be, I can imagine, pretty damn full. So they've got the players who have been there and done it, and it's annoying because they don't even take T20 cricket that seriously, and they're still the champs.
I quite like in the chat while this is going on, people are suggesting alternative people. Chris Hemsworth and Hugh Jackman as 2 alternatives. You have to give us a reason. You can't just give us the name. We need to know why you think this.
Here's a random Aussie.
Yeah, they are Aussies though. Mm-hmm. So well done there. Next on the list, and I don't know if this is just in alphabetical order. Yeah, I think it is. Is England, Ross? Probably maybe the second favourites for the tournament. If they can work out the bowling, we'll talk about that. But first of all, which famous person best represents England?
look, at the moment, this whole context of which we're operating in England is hilarious. The politics has completely fallen down. So we're going to have to go back to celebrating billionaires because that's what English people like to do and what Americans like to do. And there's one obvious choice. He's a champion of the business world. He's a billionaire to be celebrated for his boldness, his brashness, his taking on of an established format and rewriting the textbook. Can you guess who it is? It's Richard Branson, the champion of customers, hero to many business people. This is from his website. The founder is a maverick entrepreneur and hippie billionaire, adventurer and philanthropist. He is always looking for new ways to do more for people and to create a better world. If that doesn't embody this England side, I don't know what does.
We've got some other alternatives here. King Charles. I don't know. I suppose he is the king.
Playing for Queen and Country.
Lasanda says Prime Minister, if they have one.
Real singer.
Yeah, all right. So cricket wise, they're I think probably the best batting lineup in the tournament.
It's a formidable effect. Considering, I reckon England quite genuinely could put out 10 people who've all got a first-class century.
I think they could probably do 11, couldn't they?
Yeah, probably, and it'd still be a pretty decent side. But their approach has been, it's fully vindicated. Last year it fell apart when Tamal Mills went down. He's back into the side because Topley has unfortunately rolled his ankle. So maybe this is a redemption story.
Yeah, I think the bowling is the query, isn't it? I mean, in a sense, they could play whoever with the bat, and they'd probably be okay. Nobody's really sure which way they'll actually go. Apart from Ben Stokes at 3, obviously they've nailed their coast mask on that.
Is it 4?
Well, he batted at 3 against Pakistan, didn't he? They dropped Milan.
That's madness. Milan has to play in my book.
Okay, well.
We can see what happens tomorrow. They play at 12 o'clock tomorrow against Afghanistan, don't they?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, smash the mic there. Sorry about that, everyone. So the bat is good. Bowling, I think the question that people will be asking is who we think will be their 4 bowlers. In fact, is Sam Curran going to be 7? There's lots of questions here. Who are you picking bowling?
There's a hell of a lot of left-handers there if you're talking about it. Milan, Stokes, Moeen Ali, Sam Curran. It's an awful lot there.
Yeah, bowling though.
Mark Wood, number 1.
His first name, yeah.
Rashid Khan.
Rashid.
Yeah, he's
Rashid Khan. We've signed him.
John Rashid, always do. I think you have to have a left arm. I would probably, just toss up between Sam Curran and David Willey, and I think Sam Curran's performed better in the last kind of 6 matches that they've played. Sam Curran gets the nod. Then you've got Stokes bowling a couple of overs. Moeen Ali's going to bowl a couple of overs. Who's the last? Chris Wokes for me. I think we've got to target the power play and win it that way. We don't have enough in the death to do it, so we've got to gamble.
Could England perhaps go with Curran at 8 and play all the batters and just be like, we're going to really lean in to being a batting team here? As Ross gets moved on from his.
We're this up.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, answer that question, then we'll move on from England. Could they play?
They can.
They can do that. Next team on our list is Ireland. We've previewed Ireland and we've talked about Ireland, so we're just going to move on.
Yep.
Happy with that? And Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, same for them. Leaves New Zealand. Who's your famous person for New Zealand?
I haven't got one.
Oh, did I do them?
I think you did that one.
This show's been a nightmare, hasn't it? Right, I've got 2 actually. Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi, the 2 New Zealand filmmakers and actors, because they're good in everything they're in. They're quite funny and they're nice guys. However, they're not that great at cricket. And I think
just finalists last year.
Yeah. That was last year. This is this year. I don't particularly rate this New Zealand side. Don't think they're going to get through the group. I think the chicken's going to come home to roost, or whatever that phrase is, for Williamson. I don't know on some of these flatter surfaces whether they'll be able to be canny with the ball in the way they were in the UAE last year. People like James Neesham, I think, could just be cannon fodder on these pitches. We'll see what happens. They are a clever team. They field really well. It's not inconceivable, right, that they go through. but I think they're more likely to be battling it out with Sri Lanka for third place than they are to be battling it out with England or Australia for qualification.
I think it's fair.
So who are we thinking of going through from Group A? England and Australia?
England and Australia. You have to back those two, don't you?
We could have skipped the whole preview, couldn't we?
Well, let's see what we can do for this group.
Right, Group 2, Bangladesh. Bangladesh was quite hard to find a famous person that best represented them. I've gone for Mohammed Yunus, who is a guy who set up a microfinance business which collapsed dramatically. Now it's the collapse dramatically part which you should be paying attention to there, rather than the microfinance business. I don't think this Bangladesh team are going to set up a microfinance business.
Well, no, because they pay people in t-shirts, don't they? If you play in the Bangladesh Premier League.
That's off the record. I think they will collapse a few times. I don't particularly rate them. I don't think having a Brazilian left arm spinners is the way forward in Australian conditions. I think of the nations in the Super 12, they're the luckiest to be there, and it's based on some rather dubious home surfaces. I think the change of conditions away from those surfaces into to Australia is about as extreme as you could get. I don't really see anyone in their entire batting order that's particularly scary and might help them get to imposing totals.
Litton Das has had a good year. Shakib Al Hassan always a good option, but I'm not too worried about Bangladesh yet.
I think that Zimbabwe will be targeting them for a win, and I think the Netherlands will probably think, that's an opportunity for us to do some damage. I think Bangladesh,
the others are going net run rate, big victory.
Bangladesh, I think, have won one match against a major nation at T20 World Cups. They beat West Indies, I think, in the first one, and since then haven't beaten another major nation at a T20 World Cup. That's extraordinary in a tournament and in a format with so much variance.
Yeah, well, and this World Cup, though, it's had so much variance, and maybe this is their time.
So I'm sorry to really go in on Bangladesh there, but
it is what it is.
It is, yeah. That is what it is.
Yeah.
Who goes next in the alphabet? India.
Hmm.
Anything? What did you have something you wanted to say?
Nope.
Right, India. Shah Rukh Khan. That's who's representing.
Of course, or the King's Punjab batter.
Not the Punjab Kings guy. No. The king of Bollywood, because the Indians are, they're self-proclaimed kings of cricket, are they? So, yeah. Any debate on that? I don't think so.
I don't think so. No, I mean, if you're gonna pick a movie star, might as well pick one of the biggest ones, right? Bollywood.
I think the questions here are around their bowling, and we've discussed this at length. If you've been following our shows, just go and find the last show we talked about India. If you want us to do 20 minutes on it, we're not going to do that here. Plenty of time the rest of the tournament, starting with Sunday, by the way, when we'll be doing one of these shows after India v Pakistan. So strap in, subscribe, etc. Batting, it's still, I don't think, the optimal lineup, but it has changed quite a lot. Did you know, Ross, at the last tournament, they were the team that played the fewest attacking shots?
It does not surprise me
of the major teams. Like
we pretty much said they were playing ODI cricket in the T20 format. Yeah. But Rohit Sharma, since he's coming in as captain, has been changing that, right? And I think he has been leading from the front in changing that intent. Let's hope that continues, because it is so easy to revert back to type. And let's see what happens.
Yeah. So
come on, King Legends. Yeah. Deliver.
Well, we've got the King Legends. I think India are still comfortably the best team in this group, even without Bumrah. Lots of people saying that they find it very difficult to see India winning the World Cup without Bumrah. I think what it does is it moves them from joint favourites to maybe just below England, but it's all very close. Like you're probably looking at, let's say Australia have got a 25% chance of winning the World Cup, and England have got a 20% chance. Or India have probably got a 19% chance, or something like that. And then outsiders have got the rest, if that makes sense. There's a 5% chance that South Africa win it. Yeah. I still think they're in with a really good shout. There's so much talent in that team, and
the bowling line is still decent. That's the thing. It's just I just think when you're watching this India side, try if one game doesn't go your way, try to realise that your Arshdeep Singh is not the worst bowler in the world.
Yeah, you're Shah Rukh Khan, baby. It's next on our list. Netherlands. We talked about them. Tim Pringle, he's the man. Pakistan, Ross.
Yep.
I've got the famous person for Pakistan as well, and I asked Hyder here. He said, "Say Banazir Bhutto." the 13th and 11th Prime Minister of Pakistan. I don't know why I did that the wrong way around. The 11th and 13th Prime Minister of Pakistan. She was a charismatic, this is the words of Hyder, charismatic, well-intentioned, but ultimately quite mediocre. I don't know. I think with Shaheen Afridi, the bowling attack is pretty scary. Shaheen Afridi, Haris Ralph, there'll be someone else bowling really quick. Shadab Khan's pretty good. Nawaz is a decent left arm option. Absolutely for sure, the batting lineup isn't particularly good. Absolutely, that is a fact. But they've got some stability in there, and they will get scores.
I think they are a dangerous side if they get to 160, and that's what they've got. They've got 3 anchors in the top order who are all capable of hitting that kind of 70 or 55, 60 balls. So yeah, they're a dangerous side.
Yeah. So that's Pakistan basically done. South Africa. South Africa. Did I have South Africa as well? You had an easy task on this show.
I did really easy. Yeah, I did.
South Africa. Elon Musk. Go for it. I didn't have long before the show. I probably could have done better than Elon Musk. I'll be honest. Now there is,
what's the justification?
Right. So lots of people are talking about how good they are, but they also do a bunch of crazy shit which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think that's fair justification. There's obviously some talent there and some good ideas, and they are capable of having an impact, but are they fully compos mentis, or are they happy making some of the decisions that they're going to make to effectively make their team kind of worse?
The big question is this South African team going to the moon? That's the big question.
Yeah.
Is it possible?
It certainly is. So all the bookmakers think that they're the second favourites to get through in this group. I am not 100%. I think there are a few things in their favour. One, they're playing in Australia, so the conditions are going to be more favourable. 2, they're playing in Australia, and that means they'll probably have to face less spin, and their batting lineup is not fantastic against spin. 3, they have got quite a good varied bowling lineup, and I think a little bit like Pakistan, if they get runs on the board, they've got a chance beating anyone. However, within the good bowling lineup, there are like some weaknesses, and not Ngidi. Norkia hasn't been bowling that well recently. Fast bowlers can go around the park. He might go around the park. Rabada is a decent wicket taker in T20 cricket, but can be quite expensive himself. Like it is possible, I think, for the wheels to come off from a bowling point of view with this South Africa team. Also, there's an element of fragility to the batting lineup. Like, if they've got Temba Bavuma in there, pretty much nailed on to play. That's pretty weak. They've got a middle order that can be brittle. Like, didn't Boovi take like 9 wickets in an over against them recently? They're a team that can happen to, and I'm not sure, like, lower down the order, whether they've got real firepower beyond David Miller. David Miller having a great year for sure, and it's fantastic for them that they've got him in such form. But I don't know. I think some teams bat a little bit deeper. Are they better than Pakistan? Maybe, I think is my answer. Probably with a slight yes.
Go through. I think so. I think in this group, India and South Africa go through. I think Pakistan will slip up against one of the other teams.
Oh, really? So you think? Yeah. Okay. I think it'll be an interesting one. I think this group, you could see. Do you remember last year when there was a scenario where 3 teams won 4 matches in one of the groups, England, Australia, and South Africa went out? I think that could happen here. I think Pakistan, India, and South Africa could all beat each other, but I actually think they're a little bit better than Zimbabwe and Bangladesh and the Netherlands, and so I think they'll all beat them as well. Anyway, Ross, I think we've probably done enough. That's 45 minutes. It's a little bit of a taster.
I think one more thing to mention is around kind of the weather that's happening here.
Yeah.
And like some of the games, like, depending on which ones get washed out, it's going to have a huge implication on this, and that could well cause a serious upset. Yeah,
well, they're saying that India v Pakistan might be washed out on Sunday, aren't they? Which would be kind of funny on one hand, but a massive disappointment on the other. I hope it isn't. As we said, I think I said earlier on the show, and as we said over and over again, we're doing shows on Sunday. Wednesday and Friday. We're going to try and do as many of them live as possible. If you like joining us on YouTube, we'll hope that Ross's internet doesn't crap out on the next one, and we have like an awkward 10 minutes where I'm just looking at the screen by myself.
It was 60 seconds.
It didn't even crash, during a bit where I had like good notes prepared. It crashed during UAE v Namibia. And it was like, well, I'm not, both those teams are out. I haven't even got anything to talk about for these, apart from David Visa crying. And so I had to try and string that out for 60 seconds. It was a complete horror show. Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, do get involved, support us on Patreon. But as a minimum, drop us a like on this YouTube stream and click subscribe so that you get notifications about all of the good stuff that we have coming up for you. Cheerio.